They haven't called. They won't tell us where they at. That's all Larry Whittaker has to hold on to right now. A silence that cuts deeper than words. In September 2025, 3 of his family members, Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine Whittaker, were taken from their home by state authorities. No notice, no answers, no goodbyes, and 2 months later, not even a whisper of where they've gone. This is not a mystery spun for entertainment. This is not the plot of another viral spectacle. This is real life, unraveling in real time, in the hills of West Virginia, where the Whittaker family became famous without ever asking to be. Now they face their darkest chapter yet. We are not here to exploit. We are not here to guess. We are here because the truth matters, and because dignity matters more. The Whittakers have been called many things, but what they are now is separated. What they need is clarity. This video is the result of verified documents, investigative records, and first-hand accounts. It will not speculate. It will not sensationalize, because the world has already taken too much from this family. It's time someone gave something back. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What happened in September? In early September 2025, 3 of the Whittaker family's most vulnerable members, Ray, Lorraine, and her son Timmy, were quietly removed from their home in Odd, West Virginia. The act wasn't broadcast. There were no flashing lights, no media briefings, just a van, state agents from Adult Protective Services, and a silence that's lingered ever since no one told Larry and Betty Whittaker why. No report was handed to them. No clear explanation followed. In fact, they were explicitly told not to speak about the case to anyone. To this day, they don't know where their family is, or if they're okay. Betty, the family matriarch, said it plainly. They said they were helping them, and they couldn't live here no more. I raised them. Her voice trembled. Larry, the remaining brother, has stayed home every day waiting for a phone call that never came. But make no mistake, this wasn't a random vanishing. The removal was legal. It was sanctioned by the state of West Virginia under its Adult Protective Services Authority, an emergency act to intervene when adults with severe disabilities are believed to be at risk. The state has cited privacy laws as its reason for remaining silent. That silence, though meant to protect the vulnerable, has instead deepened the grief and confusion of those left behind. A family who once lived in anonymity was dragged into viral attention. And now, 3 of them have vanished behind closed institutional doors. The world is watching. But inside the Whittaker house, the only thing louder than the questions is the silence. Chapter 2. Why the state intervened. The removal of Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine Whittaker was not arbitrary. It followed legal procedure and a long buildup of concern. The West Virginia Department of Human Services, through Adult Protective Services, APS, is tasked with protecting vulnerable adults from neglect, abuse, or exploitation. But their threshold for intervention is high. Protective removal isn't taken lightly. It happens only when a person's health, safety, or dignity is at immediate risk, and no less restrictive option is viable. In this case, it wasn't just one red flag. It was a convergence. Independent reporters visiting the Whittaker homestead after the separation found disturbing conditions. Piles of garbage in the yard, food left rotting on the stove, flies on the counters, no running bathroom, just a single dilapidated outhouse. A wall calendar frozen in time from March Halloween decorations still hanging from the porch in November. Inside, Ray and Timmy, both nonverbal, both heavily dependent, had lived in these conditions for years. Lorraine, now 79, suffered from multiple cognitive and physical impairments. Even Betty and Larry, who remained, struggled to maintain basic sanitation and structure. But the deeper concern wasn't just environmental, it was personal. According to state investigative records, authorities were also responding to signs of financial exploitation. Timmy's situation was especially troubling. Public documents confirm that he is the son of Lorraine, and that his birth resulted from an alleged assault, a fact that further complicates an already heartbreaking history of vulnerability. The viral fame that had once brought attention and donations to the Whittaker family also brought new risks: unsolicited visits, camera crews, financial middlemen, and a growing web of outsiders profiting off their pain. APS saw a tipping point. These were no longer just poor conditions. They were conditions being monetized and possibly manipulated. For the state, protecting Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine meant separation. But for Larry and Betty, who had cared for their family for decades, it felt like betrayal. Chapter 3: The Role of Viral Fame and Exploitation. In 2020, the Whittaker family was catapulted into global consciousness through a viral YouTube documentary. They didn't ask for it. They didn't consent to stardom. But suddenly, millions of people around the world were watching their every move, studying their speech, their habits, their disabilities. And while some watched with curiosity, others came with cameras. Visitors began showing up uninvited to the Whittaker property in Odd, West Virginia. Some offered help. Others took photos, videos, or worse, turned the family's suffering into content, clicks, and profit. It wasn't just attention. It was poverty tourism, a phenomenon where society's most vulnerable are consumed as entertainment. This attention came with money. Donations flowed and online fundraisers launched. But according to multiple official investigations, those funds didn't always reach the Whittakers. Carroll and Patrick Roark, two men who presented themselves as community helpers and caretakers, became central figures in this saga. They streamed live Q&As featuring Betty and Larry, claimed to be managing donations transparently, and positioned themselves as allies of the family. But the West Virginia State Police say otherwise. Both Carroll and Roark are now under active criminal investigation for allegedly stealing funds and merchandise meant for the family. And in a stunning twist, Carroll, while under scrutiny for fraud, publicly admitted that he was the one who contacted Adult Protective Services, triggering the removal of Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine. Whether that move was motivated by concern or self-preservation remains unclear. But the irony is inescapable. A man accused of exploitation may have also sparked the protective mechanism to remove others from the very conditions he helped create. In a world driven by views and virality, the Whittakers didn't just become famous. They became vulnerable in new, dangerous ways, and the consequences are still unfolding. Chapter 4. Who were Carroll and Patrick Roark? They weren't family. They weren't social workers. But for a time, Carroll and Patrick Roark acted as though they were the official voice and caretakers of the Whittaker family. Carroll, a man from Georgia, and Roark, a local from Odd, West Virginia, launched themselves into the public eye by creating what they called the Whittaker Family Channel. On live streams and donation platforms, they spoke on behalf of the family, framed their involvement as charity, and asked the public to help. They claimed transparency. They claimed responsibility. But police records tell a different story. In September 2025, the West Virginia State Police officially opened a criminal investigation into both men. The charge: fraudulently accepting money and merchandise meant for the Whittaker family. These weren't vague suspicions. They were the result of tracking donation trails, reviewing live streams, and listening to public concerns. The same Carroll who publicly declared that the family's money was safe is now the subject of an active inquiry. The same Carroll who summoned state protection is also accused of siphoning resources away from the very people he claimed to defend. It's a chilling contradiction. The supposed guardian may have been the greatest threat. In this moment, the Whittakers are not just victims of a broken system. They are evidence of how easily trust can be misused when no one is watching closely enough. Chapter 5. the emotional toll on Larry and Betty. If you strip away the cameras, the rumors, the investigations, what's left is something far more devastating. A brother and sister, aging and alone, waiting by the phone for news that never comes. Larry and Betty Whittaker didn't grow up with much. They didn't ask for fame or attention or even help. What they had was each other. For decades, Betty was the quiet pillar of the family, raising Lorraine's son Timmy, caring for her siblings Ray and Lorraine, feeding them, cleaning them, helping them survive day to day. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't easy, but it was love, unspoken, undramatic, but absolute. "I raised them," Betty said. "I miss them a lot." That kind of love doesn't fit into a trending video. It doesn't go viral. But it's real, and now it's been ruptured. Larry, too, is unraveling under the weight of uncertainty. He stays home, waiting for a phone call, waiting for a letter, waiting for someone, anyone, to tell him what happened to his family. Instead, he's been met with silence. "They haven't called or let me know nothing. They won't tell us where they at," he said, his voice full of disbelief. "They just took them and told us don't talk to nobody." That silence is its own kind of cruelty. For Betty and Larry, every day now is defined by absence, by the sounds they no longer hear, the routines that no longer exist, and the fear that what was removed for protection might never be returned. This isn't just a legal case, it's a living grief. Chapter 6. Where are they now? The question echoes across West Virginia and the internet alike. Where are Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine? The truth is, no one outside state custody knows. And for now, no one is allowed to. West Virginia's Adult Protective Services has full legal authority over their well-being. Because all three are considered vulnerable adults with significant disabilities, their exact location is being withheld. It's not a cover-up, it's protocol. Confidentiality is the shield meant to protect them from further harm, especially in the wake of viral exploitation and financial fraud. To reveal their whereabouts would be to risk everything this intervention was meant to prevent: exploitation, manipulation, unwanted intrusion. As of today, their separation from Larry and Betty remains in effect. No return date has been announced. No public timeline exists. And in that space between silence and justice, 3 lives are being reevaluated behind closed doors, for safety, for dignity, for good, or so we hope. Closing. A call for dignity, not drama. The story of the Whittakers didn't begin with a camera, and it should never have been defined by one. They are not a spectacle. They are not a brand. They are a family with scars and silence, a family shaped by poverty, disability, and now absence. The world turned them into a curiosity, but inside their home, they were simply living. And now, 3 of them are gone from sight, held behind legal walls of protection, while 2 remain behind, grieving, waiting, enduring. This channel exists for one reason: to bring truth with care. Not clicks, not chaos. We will not exploit. We will not guess. We will only share what can be verified. And we will always put the humanity of the Whittakers before the hunger for views. So to those still listening, help us shift the narrative. Let's stop asking, what's next for the Whittakers? And start asking, what's right for them? Larry said it best: not with anger, not with spectacle, just sorrow. They haven't called. They won't tell us where they at. Let those words echo, not as a headline, but as a reminder. We owe this family something the world has rarely given them: dignity.